This soil is crazy bad. It's basically just clay. It's so muddy and heavy and wet. We had a little bit of rain earlier today, and like I can't even walk on these bits without just sliding down in my boots. It's crazy. I've managed to get this old hydrangea dug out. A very deep-rooted old thing that wasn't flowering very well. So that's been taken out, and now I'm going to start trimming these shrubs, shaping them up, and kind of clearing out this woody growth all the way down before doing the leaves and weeding the borders and that. Here in Lawrencekirk today, starting what's like it's a pretty large mature garden. There's a lot of big trees, a lot of established shrubs. It's an older couple, so the borders are pretty much bare soil with bulbs, leaves, and not a lot of ground cover, so it gets quite mossy and weedy. And because it's such an old established garden, probably it needs like a really good layer of compost and some leaf mold or something just to enrich the soil and give everything a boost. But I've removed a kind of dead hydrangea and trimmed up a few of these shrubs, and then also got some of the waste cleaned up. So this is starting to take shape. But I've got pretty much a full day here or at least a half day, getting this cut back and cleaned up, get the borders weeded, and then once the owner has had an operation in the summer, I'll be cutting the grass fortnightly for them as well. So it's a busy day today, quite a bit to get through, and then after this I'm going to Drumlithy for another garden which has been postponed, really, try to finish that hedge at Kirkton. The hair just gets more wild as the day goes on. This is a good lesson if you're ever putting down weed membrane and wood chip. This will break down over time and you'll end up with a new medium that weeds can take root in. So if you're putting down something on top of membrane, either make it gravel or really chunky bark, not fine wood chip, because it'll just basically turn into soil. Back again and doing the job I hate the most in the world, which is weeding. Back in this garden in St. Cyrus today. It's a nice day, it's a bit cold, a bit breezy, but I'm in shorts, so I've only got myself to blame. It's sunny though, and I hope it stays like this all day. At least if it stays dry, I'll be winning. I've got quite a lot to do today. I'm hoping I'll get most of it done and then get all the waste away as well, because I don't want to be coming back here for a third day. I've probably got 4 or 5 bags now, a leaf mould and mulched leaves from the borders. Still a big clump back there, but most of this is clear. Now these will actually form an excellent compost improver called leaf mould. So if you just leave them for a year or two, it'll just come down to a really crumbly mix, almost like soil. I've got a plan to re-landscape my garden in the future, and my soil is really heavy clay, so I think if I can get some leaf mould mixed with some compost and topsoil, and add that into the new raised kind of bits of the garden, that'll make fantastic base for new planting, because I want to put in a lot of stuff, but I don't want to have everything be like for heavy clay and muddy soil and stuff. So things like lavenders and some of the more Mediterranean plants, herbaceous perennials, they like freer drainage, whereas my soil's pretty heavy at the moment. That's this border all cleaned up, all the leaves removed. And I've just got all of this to do. Well, this is how far I've gotten so far. From the gate up there, I've come all the way down here and cleared all the leaves and debris in here. And I've started in this huge area in the middle, raking it all into piles. And now I'm getting rid of those, and then I've got to go through and weed all the grass and weeds that have come up through here. It's quite a big bed area, but I think this is one of the last ones to clean. Whew. It's absolutely pouring with rain. Oh, look at that. I think I'll have to reschedule the rest of this job for tomorrow. It's just absolutely pouring down. It's also freezing cold. I didn't realise how bad it was until I took the ear defenders off and I could really hear it coming down. But I'm absolutely soaked. So I'm going to go home and get a nice hot shower and warm myself up. And I've got a meeting this afternoon with Business Gateway from Aberdeen, but they're coming down to Bervie. So I'll get a little starter on getting some help and support for the future growth of the business. I was speaking to Enterprise in Aberdeenshire before, but they got their funding from the government, not the local council, and that funding's been stopped. It's now being targeted to areas that are more deprived, so like Dundee's getting support, but Aberdeen isn't, which is a shame because I thought it was a really useful service. You had a rep that covered your kind of area, like Stonehaven, South Aberdeenshire, I had a rep, and also like the guy that ran it lived in Inverbervie, so it was nice and handy for me as well. And I got some good advice. I think it would be a shame to lose that, and I hope that Business Gateway, which was running before Enterprise in Aberdeenshire, I hope that that is a good alternative for me. But if not, I'm sure they've helped lots of other businesses and will continue to help other businesses in the future as well. So if you're starting out, or if you've been going for a while but you've never had any kind of business support, just have a look around and see what's available in your area. There's probably something government or council funded, or at least partially funded, which you can get some support, some advice, even if it's discounted advice like legal support if you need employee contracts and things like that, which is one of the things that I want to speak to them today about, because probably either by the end of this year or next year I'll be taking on an employee and making that first big step for the next leap of growth, which is exciting but also a little bit terrifying. Well, that's me all showered and freshened up, warm and dry. What's really annoying is the rain has now stopped, and now I look like an absolute wally for calling off the job with only like 10 minutes of rain left. I mean, it was absolutely pouring and I did get absolutely soaked and was freezing cold, but now I just look pathetic. My defense is that the area that still had to be done was an extremely steep bank with a stream at the bottom, so it wasn't safe to do in the pouring wet rain, and it'll be soaking wet now. So yeah, but I feel like if I had just gone and sat in the van for half an hour and rode it out, I would have been able to get more done. My plant pots as well, just by the back door. Some Carex, some salvias, lavender, and some erismium, just to give a bit of colour here, because this whole area is just one big tennis court of grey slabs. And I want to landscape all of that and put in raised beds and plants and everything, but for the time being it's have to stay as grass. But what I realised is when I sit at the back door to do my bookkeeping and stuff, I can't see it. The bloody door frame blocks it. Right, I'm just going to get ready to go down to the cafe for the meeting with Business Gateway and see how useful it's going to be. This is a small garden in Portlethen that I maintain on a 4-weekly basis through the season. So this is our first visit. There's not a huge amount to do because I usually give it a tidy up as well at the end of the autumn. But there's quite a lot of like little weeds springing up to clear the borders, so I'm gonna make a start on that. And then usually this doesn't take very long, and then I'll be going off to the next regular visit in Stoney. And then I've got 2 big jobs that I need to kind of try and wrap up today before the weekend. Right, that's that whole gully trimmed. So they come back in with a hedge trimmer and cut down all this thicker stuff. Also need to trim along this bit here. But it's probably easier to send a video in case you're not here for a while. So this is everything kind of cleaned up and cut back. We've got a lot of the stuff hoed up and all the leaves cleared away, things cut away from the path through the grass that your mum might walk on if she did. All this cleared out. This border down here, it's all been weeded, all the leaves taken away. All of this has been cleared out, all the leaves. There's actually quite a bit that's blown back in here, so I'll get this cleaned up before I leave. Get the last day's leaves, but this path is now opened up, so a lot safer for your mum for walking around. Yeah, that's I'll get this last bit of leaves here that have come back down this alley cleaned out, but I think that's pretty much it. So I'll just send you this over WhatsApp so that you've got it in case you're not out here anytime soon. But that's your mum's garden kind of tidied up, and I've taken away all the waste, so you shouldn't have anything to take away, and it's got a head start for the summer.